Hi, this is Wendy from HMO Success. Today I want to talk to you about how you can best manage your tenants if you're managing an HMO yourself. Now, you might be doing a rent-to-rent HMO or you might own your HMO. How do you make sure though that tenants can't contact you in the middle of the night with a query about their television? Or that if they have a maintenance issue, they know exactly how to get through to you quickly to get a response. Not only that, but to help you so you're not getting frustrated and tearing your hair out with all the demands of your tenants. Well, the first rule of thumb is to make sure that you set up the relationship correctly from the beginning. What are your office opening hours? Do you make that clear to people? For example, here at Best Nest, we close at lunchtime on a Saturday. So unless we have an emergency after midday on a Saturday, right through till 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, we aren't answering phone calls or queries or texts or emails from tenants. That's when we're closed. We have to have some time off too, you know. Do you do that? Do you make it clear to tenants when you are not available? And if so, do you have an out of hours answering service? If you have an out of hours answering service, then that makes it much easier for tenants to feel as if you're still available, but that their query will be answered come Monday morning. The second thing is, you do need to make it clear what happens if there's an emergency, because clearly you don't want to wait until Monday morning to find out that the house has burned down. So do you have a system for making sure that tenants understand the difference between an emergency and a non-emergency call, and what to do between the two of them? How do they highlight an emergency and how do they just report a maintenance fault? The third thing is, you need to set up the relationship correctly from the beginning. And what I mean by that is ground rules. What are the rules that you're going to set up between yourself and the tenant? You know, people are a bit like animals. You need to train them. Make sure that your tenants understand what is okay and what is not okay. So it's not okay to phone you 7 times a day about a light bulb that's flickering in their room. But it is okay to phone you if the fire alarm has gone off. Where do you draw the line? And many problems I see with landlords who are managing their own HMOs is they haven't defined their own professional boundaries. And I'll come on to why in a little while. You need to have policies. That's point number 4. If you don't have any policies, then not only will you be running around chasing your tail trying to answer all the queries and questions of your tenants, particularly the high maintenance ones or the ones that really do have genuine questions. But not only that, you won't be able to train anybody else to do what you do. If the time comes when you decide you've had enough of this, but you don't want to lose the income stream, you're going to want to take on staff. Well, you won't be able to do that if you haven't got policies that address each of these areas. So write down your policies. What happens, by whom, at what time scale, and make that really clear. You need to stick to it as well though. There's no point writing a policy if you're just going to go and break it. We have a rule at Best Nest, 3 strikes and you're out. Now it sounds harsh, but the point is that if we find that a tenant is being particularly problematic, is irritating the other tenants, is annoying other people, or is reporting unnecessary maintenance or other issues that really aren't needed, then we will give them a warning. Because as you know, in an HMO it's a communal environment. People need to learn to live together, and they're all adults. We are not running a children's home. These people need to learn how to live well together, and you're going to have to point that out. Now, one of the problems, of course, is that you're going to face risk. By starting to be clearer about your own boundaries, about the ground rules, about your policies, internally you're going to feel concerned, possibly fearful, that by doing this, your tenants are going to wave goodbye, stop paying rent, and that's it, you're going to lose your income. Well, in my experience, the opposite is true. Actually, if you start to be clearer with yourself about what you expect from your tenants and clearer with your tenants, it's a bit like parenting. You've got to have clear boundaries. Once you do that, your tenants will respect you. They'll understand what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable, what's okay and what's not okay. And actually, your fear of loss, which is what it comes down to, will start to disappear because you'll realise that your tenants are happier. They're clearer. They're clear about the rules and regulations. They're clearer about what you expect. And you know, there's one thing, if they don't like it, they can go and find somewhere else to live. So those are my tips for ensuring that you manage your HMO well, that tenants don't walk all over you, that you still have a life after an HMO, and that you still have the great cash flow that HMOs can bring. I'll speak to you very soon.